Alas, poor Bib. I knew him. Oh, hello there. I've just been looking at my 3D printed Star Wars skulls that I made a video about a few months ago. And during that video, if you haven't seen it, by the way, click this link up here in the upper right. I mentioned that I was not able to print all of the models that I had, and that I would be making a part 2. So that is what this video is. Now, I do recommend you watch that other video, but to make a long story short, a company called 3D Kit Bash came up with a Kickstarter project to make some Star Wars-inspired skulls that would be either 3D printed and mailed to people, or given as 3D models for them to print themselves. And I did that. I was a backer and got some of the 3D models. I don't have all of them, but I have more than half, I guess. And in the last video, I introduced several of them that I printed, including good old Bib here, the Rancor monster, the Gamorrean Guard right here, Admiral Akbar, and also a semi-life-sized Salacious Crumb. But, as I say, I had some more that I was unable to print because my printer was on the fritz. Now, just to give you a short update on that, yeah, my printer was broken for a while. Basically, it was giving me a heater error, and it thought that, the heater was at some impossible temperature, and it just basically shut off. So, I did manage to get that sent off to the manufacturer, Dremel. And they were, for the most part, very good about it. They didn't cost me any money. It was under warranty, and they replaced a bunch of things. Although, even after I got it back, I kept having the problem, and it turned out it was due to a loose wire. But, there are a lot of things that can go wrong with 3D printers, trust me on this. So, it took a while to find out what the problem was. But I think I've got it now, and it's back printing happily. I was, of course, delayed a bit on my 3D printed R2-D2 project as well. A lot of people have been asking me about that. It is coming along. I sort of taken a hiatus during the holidays. Even if my printer had been working, I probably wouldn't have been doing anything on it because I work in the garage, and it's freezing out there. I can't do spray painting in freezing weather and so forth. So I'm just going to wait a little while longer, I think, on that. But in the meantime, we have some other things to look at, and I wanted to introduce the other characters that I did buy the models for. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and do that. I'll, through the magic of editing, get rid of these guys. And bring out our first one. This is, well, see if you can guess as we bring out each one. Probably not too hard. This is, of course, a Taunton Skull. Now this one, it looks really cool. It's also not very easy to distinguish it just from a normal, like, ram skull or something, I guess. It does have these bumps on the forehead that would, make it a little bit more obvious that it's a Taunton, but it does look like they took a very heavy inspiration from some of the bovine skulls, or maybe like a goat or a sheep skull. Still, that's a cool one. Then we have this one. See if you can tell what that is. Yes, that's pretty obvious. It is Bossk, the bounty hunter. It came out pretty well, I think. I'm not sure how much like this kind of thing would actually be on the skull. I think if you look at reptiles and so forth, I mean, this kind of thing would be scales, one would think, which would be, basically skin, or modified skin anyway, and not actually on the skull, but I guess, they took some creative license with these. Now this one here, by the way, let me go back to the Taunton. This is printed in, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. We have the tips of the horns, and we have this part, which is the sort of the face and the base of the horns. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. And then we've got the moving jaw and the back. So they're all basically in 4 or 5 parts. This one is 4. We have, I think, no, it's 3. 1, 2, 3. And as I mentioned in the other video, you know, they've made these designs to be easily printable and not necessarily the best in terms of just being anatomically correct. I mean, you know, these are not going to be correct anyway because they're fantasy. What do you suppose this is? Yub nub. Yes, it is a dead Ewok skull. And, you know, the main thing, I suppose, well, you got the big eyes and sort of the big teeth. Those are the main tells for this one, I suppose. But you can sort of imagine the teddy bear ears and whatnot. It'd be kind of fun to maybe like put a headdress on this one or something, like make it look like Wicket. Next up we have this one. This is the Wampa. This one, as I recall, this horn piece is actually, it's a single piece that goes through here. And then we have the back of the skull, and the front of the skull, and the jaw for 4 pieces. I think these individual models, the small models, took about, I don't know, 7 or 8 hours to print probably altogether. I was able to print them all the parts on one bed. So I just sort of set it and left it and came back, and all you had to do was assemble them. But, you know, I was a little bit dissatisfied with the size here. Now, I should mention that the ones that they were selling as pre-printed things were even much smaller than these, I believe. But, you know, I wanted to do something that was even more impressive. So I decided to print this one full size. Well, not full size. This is, of course, not life size, not the size of an actual Tauntaun, but it's as big as I can make it on my printer, which is about 195% of the original size. So basically double the original size. I didn't want to go... If you go too big, sometimes it'll happily try and print it, and then, you know, if you're constrained by the vertical dimensions of your printer, it might get up to here and then just sort of stop, which would suck because this, you know, probably took, I don't remember how long, but 15 or 16 hours or something to print. You don't want it to end at the last second with something incomplete. But this looks awesome. I must say, this size is really nice, and yeah, I'm tempted to paint this up as an actual skull, although it looks pretty convincing even as it is. So yeah, I don't know, might take some of these other ones and print them larger too. That was one of the main reasons that I wanted to get the 3D print models as opposed to the skulls that they were printing, because you can print them at any size you want. You can even print, you know, I could print theoretically a full-sized one, an actual life-sized Taunton Skull, if I wanted to further split this up into many pieces, which is, it's not easy, and I don't really want to do that, but it's possible. So let's take a look at all these together. All right, well, it's rather difficult to get these arranged in any meaningful way and get them to fit into the frame of the camera here, but you get the point. These are actually pretty impressive looking on display. I'm tempted to do the Rancor or the Gamorrean, at least, in the larger size, and maybe Bib as well. I don't know, I'll have to think. I believe, in case you're wondering, I think each of these smaller ones is probably, I don't know, given the price that I pay for filament, which is about $20 for a kilogram, I'm thinking this is around $3 or $4, maybe, yeah, around there. For one of the smaller ones, maybe $10 for this one, because it's really quite large and heavy. Although the weight depends on how much infill you use, how much plastic you want inside. You know, 3D prints generally are hollow to some degree, and then you have a sort of a honeycomb structure inside that will support it. This one, I don't remember what I used, but it was probably about 15%, something like that. So yeah, I'd like to know Which of these is your favorite? Personally, well, at the moment it's probably this one just because of I got this, cool one printed out so large. But I like the Gamorrean, I like the Rancor quite well as well, so maybe the Rancor actually. So until next time, thanks very much for watching.